Can you hear me now, Rico?
Yo, what's going on, peoples? We having a little technical difficulties right now. Are we trying to figure out uh, how we get our voices? It just went off. The volume went off, y'all. But welcome for everybody that done hopped in so far. Bear with us for a second while we try to figure this out.
Yo, yo, yo.
Um, while we waiting,
Rico, can you
hopefully
hear me?
everybody had a great week, great weekend. Trying to figure out why this isn't working. If you in the if you're in here and you
While we
can you
waiting.
guys hear us? Excuse me.
Rico, can you
Can
hear
you
me?
guys hear me?
Great
Now,
weekend.
my father. Oh, he keeps on blacking out the screen. That's why I'm trying to figure out what is going on. He's backing in and out. We will see. Well, I don't know what's going on here. While we waiting on pops to slide through.
Can you hear me now, Rico?
So yeah, so I can't hear him unless I'm listening to the actual stream on my phone, y'all. So I'm gonna get back. Let's see if we can get it going. There we go. He's back in there.
Rico, still can't hear me?
Now, I can't hear you, but I can hear you on the stream when you're talking.
Okay.
I just don't know how much behind we are. Can you hear
I can hear you.
me? All right. Well, we're gonna have to fight through this one and figure it out whenever we figure it out. But today we are going to have a little discussion um, about being a student athlete. Some of our old stories and some of our things that we experienced when we was in college. Uh, before we get into that, I wanted to say congratulations to all our ex athletes that got to play in their first college games this over this weekend. I don't know if I got all the stats and stuff out, but a lot of guys that went NAIA, went D2, went went uh, went to college to play ball are now in live action starting this weekend, and a lot of them persevered through a lot of different things. A little uh, I won't get into people's names and businesses as they was as they were in high school, but a lot of our kids persevered and did their thing to where they're playing ball now. So I want to give a big ups uh, to those guys and to keep it up, and I'm gonna keep track of them. Pops will keep track of them. We'll do some things where we'll give y'all some updates on some of the kids that we used to coach uh, and mentored as they grew up. But like I said, we're gonna be talking about being a student athlete in college. For for both of us. I was in college a little longer than than my dad. That man was an in and outer. He got in and he got out as quick as he could. uh, so if we get into it right off the bat, can you tell the world a little bit about your journey as a student athlete and what made you choose what you chose to do in college? Because if y'all didn't know, this man was a soccer player first. He wasn't a football. A lot of people don't know that about you. So, go ahead and tell them about your experience, or I'll say your journey to becoming a student athlete in the college realm.
Well, you're absolutely right. I didn't start playing sports until I was about 12, 13 years old. And the first sport was soccer. I stayed right behind the high school I graduated from, and there was a summer league, soccer league that would be played on the track right behind my house. So the coach would ride through the neighborhood every year and recruit kids to play. And he had to convince my grandmother to allow me to play. And with some encouragement from my aunt, she did. And, you know, that's where my athletic career started. A lot of running, a lot of fun. Probably the biggest thing out there for my age group. But God blessed me with some talent. So that started that. Then I went to baseball. Then I went to football. And then basketball followed behind it. Coming out of high school, I got a lot of attention. You know, being in the Panhandle from Pensacola, Florida, during that era, there was a lot of guys going to school. Emmitt Smith was a national known player. And his senior year, which was my sophomore, junior year, something like that, we had a chance to play against them. They was ranked number 1 in the country. And we ended up beating them. So that started my recruitment process. The following week, it became a circus. So I originally signed with one school, and I'm not going to say these schools' names. I signed with one school, that was the issue. Went to another school after that, that was an issue. And I ended up at Louisiana Tech. And ended up leaving after my freshman year. Went to Canada, then got drafted. So my time in college was very short. I really didn't have a college experience. So I will say this, you and your brothers and all the sons that I've coached that went to college, there was one thing that I wanted to make sure I drove home and tried to instill in you all, that when you get to that level, it becomes a business and it's really about your future. And education is very, very important. You can't have one without the other. So, my advice to those is to stay focused. And, football has a primary place, but it's really secondary because football doesn't last forever. So your education does. So my time in school, and I was only in school for 3 months, it was fun, fast paced, and we did some things that, the school that I was at hadn't done in a while. So it was neat to be a part of that process.
Okay, well, it's gonna be a little delayed on my end of what's going on, because I'm listening in like y'all. I'm tuning in as well on the outside. But like I said, you heard how his college experience was and how it was short. I got to kind of experience it in a different way, because I got to go through kind of the recruitment process at Lafayette when I was young, and I think I got my first offer was when I was a sophomore, I guess, or I guess it wasn't an official offer, but pretty much Louisville was the first people that reached out to where they wanted to see about me, and me personally, uh, that that coach, his name's John L. Smith at the time. He was the only coach that uh, showed up. He came to my basketball games. He came to my track meets. Uh, he 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 was just very personable and very about me. A lot of the other coaches, I guess I was just another uh, coin in their bag to where it was I don't know. I was just another athlete, because that's one thing that I try to tell these athletes now. You can think you the biggest, baddest mug in the world, but there's another one just like you that that's fast, that's strong, that's smart, that does pretty much the same thing you do. But what differs you from them is your mindset and how you go about doing things. And if you can persevere through some of the bull that goes on, and make sure that you're you're focused on what you need to be focused on, because as a young 17, 18-year old getting recruited to go to these colleges, you go take your visits, and they show you all these bells and whistles, and all these awesome pretty things, and you get captivated as a young kid. And one advice that I would give to, or a piece of advice I would give to a lot of you young athletes out there is to really, really dive in and ask questions when you get to where you're at. Don't just go out there and be enamored by, oh, they put the Bentley out on the field for me to take a whole bunch of pictures and throw up the peace sign with the coach, because guess what? That Bentley is not gonna be there when when it's time for you to go play football. And if you do see it, it's in the coach's parking spot. he he's the one that's gonna be driving it, not you. You know what I mean? So don't get caught up in all the bells and whistles, and really go out there and ask questions, and really go out there and see if the coaches are there for you, or they just trying to fill their roster, or are you going to fit into their system? Are you going to fit into what's going on? And ultimately, is that college going to be a fit for you to grow as a young man? So there's a lot into being a student athlete. There's a lot into making those decisions, and it's hard decisions sometimes to where people like me, I had a few choices, but people like my father, he probably could have gone anywhere he wanted to if he wasn't such a rambunctious young man at points in his life. And and I just think that everybody's stories will be different, and you just gotta have your mind right for those things, and make sure you're moving in the right direction. You got anything else to say about that?
No, I think you hit it right on the head.
So for you, I don't even know if this question is even feasible for you, but balancing your academics and sports, what kind of strategies did you use when you was there?
Well, for you all that don't know, I have a master's degree in leadership and education, and working on the doctorate in human behavior. So don't think I'm not. I don't have a degree. I do. I end up getting it later. Uh, the key is, like you said, using the word balance. You you're there to school, so you have to study. You have to have the grades, or you won't be able to play. So you have to find that balance, and you have to focus. When you get to college as a freshman, most freshmen have a hard time. I'm assuming that percentage. I haven't looked at it in a while. That percentage is high of those that end up on academic probation. Uh, school is College is a great experience, but it's not party time. So you have to really, really focus and not get caught up in those traps, because once that ball gets rolling of not being able to keep up with your grades, it's going to be difficult to catch up. So you have to balance. You're there for a reason. You're there for your future. As an athlete, you're there to be a better athlete. As a student, you're there to be a better student. You're there to learn. You learn to grow, because this time will reflect, how your future looks.
Yeah, that it is tough to balance all those different things. It's tough to uh, it's tough to keep your mind straight sometimes, because especially when you get that freedom as a young young adults. You Some people can handle it. Some people let it take over what they got going on or what they doing. So uh, the big thing for kids or young adults moving forward is to have a great support system. So for you, who you think was your support system uh, going into college? Because I'll go ahead and say for a lot of people, it's not always their family that's their support system when they go into college. It might be a friend, it might be a teacher, it might just be somebody that kept up with you as you grew up. But everybody's different. Everybody has something that pushes them to move forward. So, what you think was your biggest motivation, I guess?
I agree with what you just said, because you know, family wasn't that for me. Uh, I was that time of life kind of floating through life, really by myself. Um, However, there were coaches, there were faculty that you know knew my story and knew my background and knew what I was coming from. That try to support, try to encourage. I had a I had a dean. I think she was a dean at the school at the time, and she kind of took a hold, grabbed a hold of me, and treated me like her son for that little bit of time. And she was like my mother at school, and she stayed on me until she couldn't stay on me anymore. Uh, my coaches as well, because during that time, that's really not being disrespectful to my family, but my family was kind of all over the place during that time. It was really, really, that was really a chaotic time in my life. That there were outsiders that stepped in those roles for support. Uh, so you're right. It's not necessarily family that does it. It can be someone outside the family or your extended family that does that. Um, and I think that's very important. I think that's really, really important. That journey kind of guided my coaching style as well, and how I dealt with others, especially sons that I've coached, because I knew how important relationships are. And when you don't have that support, it can be very, very difficult. That's part of why I was in school for 3 months.
Well,
And I know
Well,
somebody's wondering. I know somebody's wondering,
that's
like,
that's a lot
what
of
is
good
he talking
points
about?
you made
What is
because
he talking about?
even for me, and there's always two sides of the story, the spectrum. I feel like for me, when I went to college, y'all were always there for me to have a support system. But the way I went to college, my first, I feel like my first couple years, y'all kind of let me go. Like spread your wings, make sure you figure out how you gonna figure it out, and I don't know, start become taking the steps to becoming a man and being independent and moving forward to where I'm not so dependent on my parents. And not that I was anyways when I was in high school, but a lot of these young men coming up, they don't really understand that when you go to take that next step and you're away from your family, you're away from your friends that you grew up with, when you're away from that home aspect to where you know for a fact every night that you're gonna have a warm bed to sleep in, or every night you're gonna have something to eat, or every night you gonna have some type of entertainment, whether it's gaming or whatever the case may be that you like to do, or even just a vehicle to get around uh, where you need to get around to, because there's uh, a lot of things going on in the college world, especially when you're there and you're supposed to be that student athlete. Sports takes up a lot of your time. Practicing takes up a lot of your time. Uh, Making sure your mind is mentally ready to go out and be prepared to do what you need to do to perform takes a lot of your time. But you also got to understand that these grown adults that are technically in charge of you while you're in college, their job depends on your focus. So for you to be in college and you to not do what you need to do, or lose focus here and there, you're really uh, on the edge of going home, or having to do something else, because their livelihood depends on you. And with you being young athlete, because it goes for the female side too. If you're not on point and you're not paying attention to what needs to go on, then guess what? Like I said earlier, there's another kid that's boop, same size, same speed, same everything. That we can see what he's talking about now. We'll just choose you a dime a dozen to a lot of these coaches. Now, not saying that every coach in college is like that, because there's a lot of coaches that do care for the kids, and there's a lot of coaches that do fight to keep the guys that they want. But in my experience, a lot of the coaches don't like not having the people that they went out and got. So for me, I had a lot of different coaches, and if they didn't recruit me, sometimes they didn't want me. If they didn't recruit somebody else, sometimes they didn't want those people. But there were certain people that other coaches would fight for and to keep on the team. Uh, I didn't have as much craziness going on as you did, but I know coaches fought to keep you on the team. I know coaches was and some of the stuff you did back then, a lot of coaches would have been like, nah, I'm scared that he's gonna mess up, and you know, and we won't have this big piece of the puzzle to make what we want to do work. But there was people that fought for you that you've told me many stories that fought for you to be there and to be a part of what's going on. So for you, How do you think that took I won't say a toll, but how you think mentally that had you as a young man to where you knew, hey, I mess up. Do you think these coaches are gonna help me, or you think they're gonna leave me on the side of the road and be like, all right, go ahead, find you some food. You get what I'm saying?
Well, you know, that time of my life, my thought process wasn't about that. I've always wanted to be the best version of myself. I was dealing with so many demons and thoughts and traumas in my life that caused my ability to be present uh, to be distorted. And I never looked at it like that. There were a bunch of people that were always fighting and praying for me and, trying to assist me into being what it is God has created me to be. Uh, I just wasn't in a place to receive that. And, not to change the subject, I think this goes into answering this question. When you're not healthy mentally, if you haven't dealt with trauma, you haven't dealt with feelings about yourself, and dealt with whatever it is that put handcuffs on you. Until you do that, there's a moment where you can't receive any information, you can't receive any help. Um, I think the biggest thing is becoming aware of that and dealing with it. My reason that I had such a rocky past is because my expectations of others created some problems for me. To have expectations of others to be what you want them to be, it's not a really good thing to have, because you're going to always be disappointed. Me and my mother's relationship was so rocky, and all I wanted was my mother. Uh, my father wasn't around for some reasons that really doesn't matter now. However, as a young boy growing up and a young adult, trying to figure out who you are was the biggest thing for me. And in that, it caused me to make some decisions that weren't healthy, and that was damaging for me and those around me, and even those that I haven't even met yet. So, and I know you smile when I said that because you've heard me say that on several different occasions, that the choices that we make just don't affect you and the people that love you. It affects those that you haven't even met yet. And just going to going into a new phase of life and in a scenario where you can better yourself, that has to be the focus. But you got to be mentally in a place where you can grow. And that time was very difficult for me, even though I had the world in the palm of my hands. It was still difficult. Just because what it looked like on the outside doesn't mean how I felt on the inside.
Yeah, it's big being strong mentally. It's it, it's tough to gauge sometimes how you think, because you might think you're mentally strong in certain aspects, and then something happens to where that you've never experienced, and you'd be like, dang, what am I supposed to do, or what's going on, because uh, you haven't experienced it. It's but that's life. If you take steps forward, uh, and you walking down a dark road, you might not see that there's a pothole right there, and a big puddle of water that now your shoes all soaked because because you couldn't see it. You get what I'm saying? But
Right. That's
if
right.
you were to rewind and go back to the beginning of that sidewalk and go walk on that again, you know, after 3-4 steps, oh, there's a puddle of water all to my right. Let me go ahead and skip over this. But it takes experiencing those things to learn how to get out of those things. And I totally agree with you being mentally strong helps you through different types of I'm not gonna call them traumas. I'm gonna call them different types of situations to where uh, you that's how you grow, if that makes sense. So going getting better and getting taking them steps forward, you need to have those puddles of water you step in. You need to have those. There's there's a curb right there that you tripped on. That you you get what I'm saying. Now if you catch yourself, some people are lucky enough to catch yourself, but a lot of people they trip on that curb and they scrape their knee. And what you gonna do when you get back up? You gonna put some alcohol on that thing and it's gonna you can burn a little bit and keep it going, or you gonna stay on the ground like Peter Griffin off of Family Guy, just hold his knee the whole time. And, there's a lot of dramatics out there in the world. There's a lot of people that'll sit there and then wait for somebody to come and help them up, or wait for somebody to come and ask them, hey, what's wrong with you? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But you gotta understand too that you up here being strong help you get through those things without the extra help from the outside.
Well, in saying that, you know, you're right. Pain is the thing that helps you grow. Without the valleys, you can't know the highs. And experiences are meant to teach lessons. And one thing about those, I had to really, because I yearned for a relationship with my mother, I had to come to a place to where, you know what? My mother loved me the best she could. I just got to keep it moving because I can't stay in a victim mentality, because when you're in a victim mentality, you're making excuses for why you're not being the best version of yourself. So I had to quickly gather that and understand that and keep it moving. You know, everything that has happened in my life is a lesson. It is not a trauma anymore because emotionally I'm not attached to it. Those are lessons. Those are the things you learn from. I'm grateful for those times because they taught me a lot. You know, even the bad times have great value, just like the good ones. And they also are very humbling. And, you know, that's one thing that I gathered through that. And I try to teach you and your brothers that when you all were young, ain't no such thing as try. And please don't make excuses, because excuses are just that, excuses. Yes, you're making making room for yourself not to be the best version of yourself when you do that. So excuses have no place in life, and you know how you feel about yourself and the goals that you set for yourself. There has to be a level of focus that is attached to that. Your commitment to yourself is the key. If you want to be the best version of yourself, you got to commit to yourself to do that. And God will put people along in your life along the way to help you build that. However, it belongs to you. And you know, using the word trauma comes from a place where uh, your deepest desires or your deepest thoughts about what it is that you stand in need of is turned upside down. But that's not where you're supposed to live. You're supposed to live in the present. You're supposed to be present and using those moments as, you know, learning a lesson, whatever that lesson God has for you. So I had to quickly really address that. So I'm not the victim. And because I don't want to live in that kind of mindset, because that is a mindset, that's a personality. Being a victim all the time, waiting on somebody to see you so they can ask you what's wrong, and all those things like you said. So um, I'm grateful for those times.
Yeah, it's always good to be grateful. It's grateful for the times that you had, the work that you had to work through, and like I don't want to diminish anybody else's story, but I feel like everyone goes through similar things through their journeys of being a student athlete, through their journeys in life, and it's just different ways. I know that sounds kind of weird, but like for example, I would say everybody gets to that are going towards the finish line, or everybody that's going towards that finish line are going to go through obstacles, and going through their obstacles, they're going to look to their right and left because it's natural to see what's beside you and see other people doing stuff as well. So the stuff that's going on beside you, are you going to get caught up and watch and stare and not move forward to where you're supposed to be going, or you gonna see those situations and be like, I'm gonna keep churning through and keep going towards my goals and going towards my aspirations. One of the stories I tell a lot of my kids, and shoot, just a story I tell in general, when I was young running track, and I think I might have been winning the 400, and I'm coming around the corner, and I'm beating everybody, and this guy that y'all looking at right now sitting there with an umbrella and the lightning strike just go just hits him while I'm running, and I stop during the race. I'm beating everybody anyways, but I'm stopping and like running in place jogging, and this man say keep running, keep going, and in my head I'm looking like, this man just got struck by lightning and he telling me to finish the race. You know what I mean? So that's my analogy I like to tell kids, like, hey, the crazy stuff can go on around you, but you gotta keep going. You gotta keep trucking along. You gotta keep going, because a lot of the stuff that's going on aside, their threshold and their mental state can handle a lot of things that you might not be able to handle yet. So you got to stay on your path and your journey, because you never know. I might have been the next one to get struck by some lightning, but I seen what happened to my own father.
And you kept running.
Keep running. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that is an awesome analogy I use, but it's just awesome to understand that now as an adult, that there's so much that goes on in this world, and there's so much that happens around us, to where we have to adapt and just keep going in the direction or the energy of your path. Because once you start trying to cross and mix energies with people that aren't on the same wavelength as you, it causes a turbulent frequency. Y'all heard me. You mixing and matching your frequency with other people's that's not on your same wavelength, it becomes turbulent. So you have to be aware. You have to have your eyes open, and you have to be ready to move the way you need to move, with the way you always used to tell us, keep your head on a swivel, and that works on kickoff. And it works in real life. So.
Absolutely, and the thing about your environment, and that's why you have to be in a place where you're healthy, because if you get caught up in your environment and start paying attention to it, you can't move forward, because your environment is a reflection of your past. That's what your environment really is. So if you're paying attention to that and not really focused, there's nothing wrong with seeing it, but your level of focus keeps you from going to it or becoming it or living in a place in your past where keeps you from growing and moving forward. So yeah, you got to keep running because sometimes that's the best thing you can do. That's the safest thing you can do is just keep running, not running from, but just keep running towards what it is that you have your mind set on.
Um, hey, that's it gets deep. It gets deep sometimes. You get
It gets real deep, and I done been struck by lightning 3 times. That was the second time.
yeah. So I know we got about 15 minutes left in this, and we had some other questions that we were going to answer, but I kind of want to open up the chat line, the comments or whatever for y'all to reach out and ask some questions. That's We're trying to get this more interactive to where we're sharing some stories, but we also want to hear from you guys and see some of the things that you guys think, or some of the things that you feel we could give you a pretty good, I guess, our idea and our what we think about. So the floor is open. I think uh, we actually have a question that popped up earlier, going back into what we talked about in the past few podcasts, is about being on a staff, and the importance of picking your staff and mixing the different types of personalities. What is the importance of choosing those right people for the kids that you coach?
Um, I don't think there's perfect science behind it. It's about a feel. When I interview coaches, 99% of the time we don't talk about football. I don't ask about IQ. I want to get to know them. I want to know their personalities. I want to try to figure out in that short period of time what makes them tick. Now, you really can't know what makes someone tick until you spend some quality time. However, in that short period of time, I try to find out, who they are. Uh, then I try to find out who they think they are. And then I try to open the door for them uh, to make a decision, because at the end of the day, I'm not choosing them, they're choosing me as a head coach. They're choosing this program. You have to, assistant coaches have to want to be there. So I try to, open the door and explain and show them what the program is all about, what I'm really all about. And it's left up to them on whether they walk through it or not. There's certain personalities and things that, I have an idea of what I want to stay away from. But however, it's a field thing for me. I don't think there's a perfect science. And if you don't do the work as a head coach with a staff by getting to know your staff on a personal level, uh, so that you can be able to maneuver, or interject in a way the way everyone can receive. The only way you can do that, you have to have that personal relationship, and that way you can kind of you can manage different personalities, because there's nothing wrong with that. However, when there's a disconnect on a personal level of understanding, because a relationship is about understanding. If there's a disconnect from that, there's going to be chaos. So it's not so much for me about the different personalities. It's more about, who they are, where they are, how they feel about themselves, and whether this is a place that they want to be. I can tell a coach all day, I want you to be a part of this staff. And I've had some say, no, coach, I decided to do something else. And more power to them, because it has to fit them. I don't try to make my program as a head coach fit any other coach or any other son or kid that comes. Everybody don't stay, and that's okay. Sometimes a season is a year or 10 years or 15, 20 years. Their season is, everybody's season is different. And you was talking about earlier about we go through different things, but it's the same. Everybody has everybody puts their own shoes on, and everybody like a different shoe. But you still put your shoes on to walk and run in. So, everybody's journey is similar, uh, the same but different altogether.
So with saying all that, do you think that it's a big part to what should I say, welcoming these other coaches, these other personalities into your world, or setting up an environment for them to just come and have a seat and observe and input when they need to? Is that the correct way to say it?
Yeah, just being able to make available seats at the table. Come sit down at the table. Let's chop it up. Let's learn. Let's grow. Not coming into my world. Yes, I have a foundation of what I wanted my program to look like, uh, but my table was very huge, and I enjoy, I embrace, I love being able to have people come sit at the table because they're not just learning from me. I'm learning from them, and then we all grow. That's really what this is all about.
Yeah, it froze up on us over here for a second. I can't. You just now started to move. We apologize. We gonna get this right, y'all. We gonna get this right. I promise y'all. We just starting off, and I'm glad everybody that does tune in and give us their input. We gonna get better and better at this. Just the trials and tribulations of figuring out something new, because this something new for me and something new for my dad, to where we're opening up to the world and basically just giving our thoughts and opinions to y'all. And I appreciate this opportunity that my dad felt open enough to be able to do this, especially with me. And uh, I think it's gonna turn into something real good in the future. We're gonna end up having guests from people I play with to people you play with, people that mentor me, people that talk to you, all that stuff. Once we get this all the way down, but hey, like we said earlier, we got to go through all the trials and tribulations of the things that we doing now before we really get it popping off.
Well, this is a prime example of we just can't talk it. We got to live it, and we're gonna keep it pushing. I don't care about the sound and all the technical difficulties that we have. God to take care of all that in this time, and we just gonna keep it moving. We're gonna do what God has asked us to do, and we're gonna stay faithful in that. We're gonna trust the process, because a lot of people, that's what turns people away. They don't want to trust the process because soon something difficult happens. You know, emotions get involved. People get frustrated, or they trigger back to a place where there's a lot of pain. I'm free from pain, and I know you are as well. We're gonna just keep it moving, and God to take care. God is the author of details. We just gonna do what's being asked, and I enjoy this platform, and I'm so grateful for it, and I'm grateful to do it with the oldest, because that's the way it should be. We have to set the example as men. We have to set the example for younger coaches, our children. We have to do those things because that's what we're called to do, and I am very grateful for this. I've been doing this all my life. Just realizing, just realizing that at this stage of life, I've been doing what we're doing right now all my life. So now I'm gonna do it on purpose. I'm gonna live it on purpose, and That's what life is with me. God has been so good, and we was traveling to go fishing this weekend with one of your brothers and had a blowout on the interstate doing about 75. I knew it was getting ready to blow before it blew. God said, "You need to pull over," and so when I pulled over, it blew. So we was able to change the tire and keep it moving. So, uh, life is something else for me. It is Christmas every day. There's a gift every day, and that's how I live it now. And I love it that way because God is presenting something in a manner to where it's just so doggone awesome.
Yeah, that goes back to even when we was little, when stuff going on, the ice storms and all that. We cooking in the fireplace and
Right.
generators going. We digging and shoveling up all the snow and just adapting to the to all the life technical difficulties.
Just gotta keep it. You
So,
gotta keep it
uh,
moving, and a lot of times that's just what it's all about, keeping it moving.
yeah, I I also I don't know if you got any plugs you want to do for any of your stuff coming up, any website or
There, there's
anything you
there's
would like to
a
give a shout out to? Because nobody asking no
there's
questions right now.
there is a newsletter that we have. It's called Young Mogul. I will probably next time we're on here have a link to it. There's a book I'm in process of writing right now. Uh, there's a lot of things going on that once the details are presented to me, uh, I will share when God says it's time to share. I'm a big component
Is
of
it freezing up again?
timing is His timing. So I'll be able to share those things here real, real soon.
You see, bro,
You
he
on
said keep it
delay?
moving, feature Enrique. Well, uh, me personally, all I got is my GuruMain9.com. It has all the platforms so where you can get on there and you can find us live on Sundays. We doing this every Sunday at 5 at the moment until something changes. You get to the website. There's at the top. There's OT Energy as a partnership energy drink. You can get in there, put in Guru Main 9, get you a discount on that. Uh, we got Wake and Win merchandise in my merchandise section. We I might have to throw in some Coach Shaw merchandise on my page too, to where y'all can get some big Suge shirts or something like that. Also, uh, Game Philly Academy. If you want to learn how to make a website, if you want to learn how to self promote your and brand yourself, you go in there, put in Guru Main 9, you get a discount on making your own website, and it teaches you step by step, and you can figure out how to brand yourself out here and do what we doing on your own platform, and just have something that you can call your own. Invest in yourself and find different avenues for you to get out there to the world, because it's social media is the thing right now, and a lot of people don't even watch TV no more. So why not make your own TV show? So we in here, we doing our father son thing right now. But like I said, we gonna start having guests in here. We're gonna start talking about just uh, old athletes that we used to have and some of the experiences we used to have coaching them and being with uh, ex professional athletes from your side, and being with former student athletes when we were in college, and just hearing just not only our stories, because like we said earlier, everybody's story is different. Everybody's path has different bumps and different potholes and stuff like that, and we will get it to where y'all get to meet some other people than just looking at us. But as of right now, we getting that all together. I just like I said earlier too, I appreciate you, Pops, for doing this with me. I appreciate the time we spend on these days to give out our peace of mind, our thoughts to the world. I know we're gonna get better and better. And if anybody in the comments has any type of topics you would like us to talk about in the near future, just throw what you think in the comments section, and we'll write it down, and we'll figure out something to where we can implement what you guys are saying, to where we can get a lot more interaction in here, because I think it's been going well so far. So thank y'all for coming out and watching tonight. Anything you guys say?
Peace and love, baby. Peace and love.
Peace and love. All right. Well, I love you, Pops, and everybody else
Lady
out there.
boy.
See you next Sunday at 5, baby. Peace.